Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I'm your host, BMR. Typically, this is where I would say, and I'm joined by the bearded wonder, Tex. But Tex today, I'm interviewing Tex in a first-time interview. We'll get into that a little later. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, hit the alert bell, and share with friends. You can find us on YouTube at Tex'S Front Porch. You can also find us on Odyssey Radio, iHeartRadio, and KPNL Radio. Also, wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Spreaker. We're on Facebook at Tex'S Front Porch. You can also reach us by email at paracryptidencounters@gmail.com or by text at 972-559-0988. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. If you enjoy our content and would like to support us, the Super Chat is always open, or you can Venmo us at @ Text6717. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoy today's show. And with that being said, if my engineer could cut the music, we've got a great show. Give you a little background on this. Back on July 1st, Jessica Jones did a remote view investigation with Tex. It was regarding his time loss incident back in August. I don't know what the date was, but it was in 2017. He had a time loss, and all the data is there. You got to go over to Jessica Jones' channel, The Cryptid Huntress, to find that great show with all the data. And today's not going to be that show. Today, we're going to talk about how this perhaps has affected Tex and what his thoughts are on this. And before we tell you what really happened, I'm going to bring up Tex. There he is, the illustrious one. Porch Life. Porch Life. That's the new slogan. I like that. Tex forever. What's up, buddy?
Hey, not much, man. Just chilling like a villain, dude.
Yeah, chilling like a villain.
Yeah, there's something new that YouTube started, and it's pretty cool. You don't have to be listening live if you want to throw us a coin. There's something called Super Thanks now. And If you're watching the show afterwards, you'll see it down at the bottom. And if you want to, like I said, you want to throw the dog a bone, we're trying to raise money for a FLIR right now. So, because we've got some awesome freaking investigations lined up. We're gonna hit the rivers around the tri-state area, and that's we're looking at Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. So, and we're going to be going like 10, 15 miles worth of river, so we're going to be doing it over a couple of days, and we want to have a FLIR with us and night vision, the whole 9 yards. That way, if we see something interesting, we can ease over and check it out. Hopefully not get shot in the process, but
yes, we like to avoid that. Hey, thanks for mentioning that, Tex. Here on all of our shows, our flagship channel is Tex'S Front Porch, and we got Bigfoot Michigan Rob, we got Serial Papers, we have the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, that's Jason McLean, Jessica, myself, Tex, and the super chats are always open. That's a great way to help support us. But another way for everybody to support us is share out our content, all our videos, our channels. Also, too, for a lot of you, the alert bell. It's great that a lot of people watch the show later. Many do. But put that alert bell on, everybody, because that way you get it live, straight up. And don't
be afraid to leave a comment either, man. I mean, if that's another way to show your support for us. Leave us a comment. Good job, bad job, whatever you think. It doesn't matter.
Yep. We're always going to advertise super chat and things like that. But you know what? What's just as important, if not more important, is spreading the good word.
Right.
Tex'S Front Porch, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Serial Papers, the Cryptid Huntress. And we do appreciate everybody's support. I love each and every one of you. And yes, a comment and a thumbs up always helps. And before we get started with this text, for those of you that did not see Jessica Jones July 1st remote view investigation, this was regarding Texas time loss incident that he had in 2017. Now, so if you haven't seen it, I'll forewarn you, there's going to be some things that we're going to bring up that if you didn't see it in the first show, oh well, it's going to, what do you call that when you give away something before you've seen it? That's a
spoilers.
Spoiler, yeah. So there will be spoilers if you didn't see that first that show, but regardless of that, that's a great show. This is going to be a hell of a show. And you know what, Tex? This all started back when you had a time loss incident. And for those of us out there that did not hear about your time loss, why don't you just walk us through that real quickly?
Well, let me get my mic set up like it's supposed to be. I've been designing again. I spent 3 hours designing on Teespring last night and lost every bit of it. So I'm having to go through and redo it all.
And I know that's a pain in the rear end because I was watching Tex last night, and you've got to go through each and every single product and design it. And, you know, one product, the design takes, for those of you that aren't familiar, it takes a while. And I think Tex had like 15 or 20 designs, which took probably an hour. And yeah, to lose that, I'd have been certainly frustrated.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating, but my computer, it was weird. Before we jump into this, it was weird last night when we were talking about, because we got asked a question that have any of y'all been visited or by Men in Black or what have you, and then my computer screen goes completely blank, goes dark at the end of the episode before we logged off, because I said, what happened? And it went completely black and I lost everything. I couldn't get back onto nothing. I just, it was, I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah. Tex showed me a screenshot and I'm like, uh-oh. I just got a new system not too long ago. As you know, the frustrations I have, I hope this is not the beginning of the end for you, Tex, because I tell you what, it is frustrating. I was frustrated for quite a while there, So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. So anyway, if you want, Tex, if you want to walk us through your time loss, we'll get this puppy rolling.
Yeah, like I said, it was 2017, and it was 8:30 in the morning, and me and DDoS said, for those of you that don't know, I spent a few years with D doing this, and yes, me and him, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. We had a falling out, and honestly, all the drama that happened as far as, the stuff that happened to him, that was just a drop in the bucket. Okay. It got personal between me and him. And unfortunately it didn't work out, but I've been accused of not being afraid to mention his name. I'm not afraid to mention his name. I tend to adhere to Thumper's rule, which his mother told him, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. I'm not going to trash the man in public. I'm just not going to do it. So, there's, it's an unfortunate thing. Life goes on. I'm doing my own thing now. I've got a great team. Couldn't ask for better. But the fact of the matter is, I started out with him.
Right.
And we were down at Brown Springs, and we were down in the bottoms. It was like 8:30 in the morning, and we had been walking down through the bottoms. Nothing strange going on. We found the best. Everybody talks about tree structures and twist and all that kind of stuff. As far as I'm concerned, we found the best tree twist that I've ever seen. And it was a live oak tree. and it was still alive, and it was about this big around. I couldn't get both hands around it.
Right.
And it had been twisted till it exploded about 3 feet off the ground. And it looked like, if you remember back when you was a kid in elementary school and you ever made those lanterns out of construction paper, and they were bowed out like that. And they had, the sides, you cut them and they look like a lantern.
Yes.
That's what this tree looked like. Okay. It had been twisted until it just popped apart, and it was kind of laid over onto another tree. We looked around for tool marks, track marks, vehicle marks, but everything. We couldn't find anything, okay, that had happened, that physical evidence of this. So, which was odd, we didn't find any footprints. And for a long time, I was trying to put that together. How is that possible? Somebody or something putting that much torque on something and not leaving a footprint. Now, hindsight being 2020, spending some time with Gary Spikes Jr. and Senior and Ranger X in the field and learning more about tracking, there's things that I could have looked for, that I didn't really know to look for. So that's on me. But it was early into the game for me. I mean, it really was. I was just, honestly, and I don't think it's just brand new researchers that do this, but if you see something like that just really, you're amazed, because the power that it had to take to do that to that tree was just phenomenal. And I was trying to get my head wrapped around that. And honestly, you get tunnel vision.
Yeah. And
by the time, we started looking for traction, we had already contaminated the scene, so, but there's also things I could have done at that point too, that I didn't know I could have done. But like I said, I had tunnel vision. I was just impressed by the sheer strength that it had to take to do this. So we found that. I set a compass in a hollow tree. I had a little compass with me that I carry a compass everywhere I go. I mean, when I go out, because you can't rely on, you may not have GPS signal. You may not have cell service. You may not have this. You may not have that. And folks, I'm telling you, if you're going to do this and you're going to go out, if you're going to go out anywhere in the woods, I don't care what you're doing. If you're just going out hiking, if you're just going out fishing, if you're going out hunting, whatever, just a walk in the woods, doesn't matter. Go down to Walmart, spend $10, get you a compass, learn how to read it. And throw it in your pocket, throw it in your backpack, whatever. Because and take a reading. And when you learn how to read a compass, you'll know what I'm talking about. Take a reading before you leave your spot. And you can always get back, Now, if your compass goes crazy and starts spinning around in circles, there's nothing I can do for you. But that's a little piece of advice from me, because I don't want somebody to get out there and get lost. So anyway, we're walking down through the bottoms, and we're looking at stuff, and we saw some pretty cool stuff, this, that, and everything. But I had left this compass inside of a hollow tree. Now that comes into play later. We milled around for a while. We started to get hungry. We thought, man, it's probably lunchtime. Let's go ahead and head back. And we were supposed to pick his kids up at the bus stop and everything anyway. So we figured we'd grab lunch and then go get the kids and blah, blah, blah. So we start heading back, and we realized that we had evidently missed where we were supposed to turn up to go to the truck.
Right.
Now, Dee had been in this area a a lot of times from what he told me, he knew the place like the back of his hand. So we was like, well, did we really miss it? And we started looking around, and I'm like, I don't recognize any of this. So, and I try to make it a habit of when I'm out like that, I don't look at my clock because I don't care about time. I go by the sun. If it's, and my gut, if, if old Texas is getting hungry, hey, I'm going to head back and grab me something or whatever, sit down and eat a protein bar or whatever. Right. So anyway, we decide, well, let's turn around and backtrack. And we walked back, and we walked about a quarter of a mile, and we found where we turned up to go to the truck. We had walked past that, supposedly walked past that a quarter of a mile, missed it by a quarter of a mile. So we get back up to the truck, and it was like 4:30 in the afternoon. Now, we thought it was like 11, noon, right, something like that. So we had lost, 4, going on 5 hours?
Yes.
And we was like, man, that's weird. I guess we just lost track of time.
Right.
Which it's easy to do if you think about it. If you get down there and you're seeing a lot of interesting stuff, and especially if you're new to the game and you get tunnel vision, you kind of lose track of stuff, and it's time flies when you're having fun type thing, right? That's all we thought. So we hustled, we packed up, hustled back, took care of business back at his place. So a little time goes by, and we kind of talk about it in private. And he goes, man, you got to see the video of the footage that we filmed down there. Because he had a camera. I didn't carry a camera.
Right.
So next time I was over at his place, he goes, check this out. And he had it hooked up to the TV. And he goes, the weirdest thing, because when you film with a digital camera and you stop and start, it goes in a sequence, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The files were all jumbled up to start with. They were 1, 23, 9.
Out of sequence.
Yeah, they were all out of whack. That was weird. The second thing that was weird was at one point somebody or something was holding whoever had the camera or whatever had the camera looked like it was sprinting through the damn bottoms. It would turn around, the camera would spin around, neither one of us were in sight, and we never left each other's hip. We really didn't. And we thought, well, that's weird, So we never could explain it. We didn't really talk about it on air much. We did address it one time, but we really didn't have an answer. Neither one of us had any ill effects. We didn't feel different. We weren't having bad dreams. None of that kind of stuff. Well, I just kind of put it in the back of my head, and I mentioned it through the years, and right, it's just one of them weird things that happens. And fast forward to what was it? A week ago?
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, something like that.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, what we did was, I looked it up, and once again, I'll say this again for our listening audience, for those just coming in. We did a Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress. Go subscribe. She did as she does always, remote viewing investigations on Fridays at 8 Central. Tex, this was always in the back of his mind, so he thought, hey, Jessica, it'd be I'd like to do the time loss incident. And of course, Jessica got into that, and it's a great show. It's a July 1st show, so go check that out. Because, again, there will be spoilers, but Jessica's got some great data, and I have to give her credit for pulling this out, because Tex says during that interview, or during that data, that remote view investigation, she came up with something that none of us thought. I mean, I had my suspicions it had nothing to do with aliens, and I'm not going to get into what I was
Right,
thinking.
right, right.
But Tex, what she revealed to you through her data was that you were indeed abducted by an ET or an alien. In fact, you were beamed up into a spacecraft. Now, when I heard that, I was part of the panel later in the show because I had computer issues. When I heard that, I was flabbergasted. And Tex, I kind of know your viewpoints with ETs and aliens and such. But when Jessica
Right.
revealed that for the very first time,
Yeah.
what went through your mind, man?
Well, right before we address that real quick,
Okay.
as many of you know, Bat Mom was with D for a while, and she's in chat. And the reason I bring this up is she just typed something in that I had never I did not know. I'd never seen that part of the video, but she says the video showed D running away from the camera.
Oh, wow.
I didn't see that part, so that's new to me. And Batmom, was the camera on the ground? Did it look like it was on the ground, or was somebody holding it? Um, I yeah. See this.
New information just been
Yeah.
introduced into this.
Man, I wish we had Jessica in here. But unfortunately, she's taking care of, life gets in the way, so she's taking care of some personal stuff.
Well, Jessica
Okay,
is in the
she says-
chat room. If
Okay,
you want to come pop on and talk about that, Jessica, real quick, we can bring you up, no problem. I know you've got to leave in a little bit, but yeah,
Batmom says, yeah, the camera was on the ground as far as she remembers. That's very interesting because it validates even more of what Jessica said.
yeah.
Now, if you jump forward, like I say, if you fast forward until when I did the show with Jessica and everything, she called me. She goes, oh, Barry saw it too.
Wow. This is some.
Yeah, this is some.
This kind of throws a monkey wrench in this whole thing. I know Jessica did make mention of something like that last
she did.
few weeks
She
ago.
did.
She did. I remember this. And now other viewers here are right now live on the show are confirming that they've seen that actually in the video. That's outstanding.
Yeah. See, this is stuff that I never knew about.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyway, sorry, I'm trying to soak all this in.
Yeah.
And it's
sure,
kind of
Texas.
throwing me for a loop here. But it when Jessica texted me and she goes, because I told her, I said, I want to do this. I don't want you to tell me anything. I want to find out at the same time the audience does. That's how I like to do things. And as hard as it is sometimes, and like right now, it's, I think you when you get the raw emotion, you get, I think that's what we need to see. I think it's going to help bring out the truth. So, and it's not easy, guys. I'll tell you.
No, I can tell, Tech.
When she told me, she goes, well, I really think that we need to talk about this before the show. And it was just a couple of days before the show, because you're going to have time to process this. And those of you that know me, I'm kind of, I've seen so much weird stuff that, I processing it. That's cool. Whatever. Stuff with me. And, so I said, well, if you really feel it strongly about it, okay. Thank you, Terry. And so we got on the phone, and I was actually at work. I was on my lunch break, and so she told me all this stuff, and that she saw that I was abducted, and pretty much beam me up Scotty's type situation, and that when it was a flash of light, and then I was gone, and D took off running. And that's that's where all this new information comes in, because that chimes right into it.
Yeah, that's so cool that the Batman brought that up, and a couple others in chat, that they saw that, because I do remember distinctly Jessica talking about that, and now there's an affirmation right there about what she's seeing through her data, which is outstanding. And she says she might pop on here in a little bit to discuss that segment of the show. So then we'll refer back to that in a moment, Tex. But again, if someone told me that I was beamed up Scotty and had no recollection or no memory, I mean, the thoughts when she told you that prior to the show, of course, I mean, where was your mind, man? Because I think mine would be scrambled. And you held your composure great on that show, but boy, what was running through your mind, man?
Well, before we're jump into that, Barry Brown, which is a dear friend of mine, and we're research partners, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Me, him, and Dee researched quite a bit together. He says in chat, text, yes, Dee was running away from the camera.
Wow. Okay.
So, all right. So this confirms a lot, guys.
Yeah, it really does.
I really didn't know what to think, to be honest with you. Honestly, I was still, in my mind, I don't know, I think we just lost track of time, having a good time, and, that type of thing. I don't know about all getting abducted and everything like that.
Right.
And then she asked me, she goes, has anything changed since that happened?
Yeah.
And no, Batmom, it's fine. I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Batmom.
And don't apologize. So, sorry, I'm getting kind of.
That's okay, Tex. Take your time.
Kind of losing my train of thought and stuff. But she asked me, she goes, anything with your like hearing or anything like that? I said, well, I don't know. I said, the only thing that's really, I guess, changed or that I've noticed or anything is when I first met Amy and Lainey from What the Paranormal. Lainey's very sensitive. And she made the statement, and I heard her in the background say it, that she said, Tex is sensitive. I said, well, I don't know about all that. I just call it my gut feeling,
Yeah.
But I've made the statement before, and it's more, I've gotten to where I get out, and y'all hear me on some of the videos that I've got out there, the evidence videos of me going up there by myself a lot and stuff.
Right.
Where I say, okay, I gotta get out and get the vibe of the place.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll do. I'll step out of my truck. I'll walk around, a little bit, right around the immediate area. And I just kind of take in the vibe of the place, take in the feeling of what's going on. And, oh, wow. Sorry, this is crazy. It's the 5th anniversary. Barry Brown says, Tex, this weekend is the 5th anniversary of our first time in Brown Springs, and he had his sighting. So that's really cool.
Thanks, Barry.
But where was I? Oh, and I said, I've got to where when I've got to distinguish. I got where I can distinguish if I'm gonna if there's just critters around or if there's some haints and hocus pocus and hinky stuff going on. If I'm going to run into that or both or nothing, because that place changes from hour to hour of what's going on up there.
Yeah.
And I've had it happen a lot of different ways. I've driven up there, get out, and it's just I felt surrounded. I've backed off and then came back an hour or so later, and it wasn't so bad. I went up there and it was just like a walk in the woods. There wasn't nothing going on. I went up there and been set up camp, been sitting there in camp, and then all of a sudden, just the only way I can explain it is a dark feeling.
Right.
And it's and that's the only way I can explain it. It's a darkness.
Yeah. You're talking about the darkness too. Really quickly, I know this last time loss was quite some time. A lot of the 4 hours, I think, if I calculate.
4 or 5 hours. Yeah.
Had you, prior to this lengthy time loss, when you're out there, especially maybe when this dark forest came about, have you ever experienced any other time loss? Do you think, for maybe not for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but as you stated, you don't look at your watch, you use the sun. So, but as far as you know, this might have happened more than once, just not with this great length of time, though.
You know what? It could have, and I just never noticed it. I don't know. Maybe that's something we can have Jessica looking into. And I don't know if she can do that, see if it's happened to me in the past or, or recently or whatever. But not that I know of. That's all I can say is not that I know of. But it's like I said, and like you said, I don't pay attention to the time. Purposely, I don't, because I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want that. It may sound weird, but I don't want that constriction. I don't know if that makes any sense or not to a lot of people, but
yeah, it makes sense to me. And the thing too, Tex'S, before we get totally into the alien abduction side of things, which the data shows, but was this dark presence? I might have missed it. I don't know. Did you feel that dark presence on the day of the 4 hour time loss, or was it just a walk through the park?
No, it was. Don't get me. I didn't feel anything that time. It was just. It was like we knew we weren't alone, but it was like, It was like, to me, when we started finding the evidence and stuff like that, it was okay. We're not alone. We got something around. But for me, at that point in time, it was more like when I would go out hunting and I would, you could almost sense something coming in the area, and that's, just another varmint or critter, it wasn't nothing.
No, yeah.
Nothing, no big deal like that. No, it wasn't no darkness. It wasn't no, we didn't feel bad or anything,
Yeah, the only reason I bring that up is because you've spent many years out in this area and you have encountered this. I was just trying to put together if maybe there was a correlation between the actual abduction and this entity that you've experienced, boots on the ground in Brown Springs.
Well, and like I said, just because I didn't notice it at that point in time, doesn't mean that's not, because I'm not, from what Jessica says, what they did to me wasn't, they kind of, they
Yeah,
kind of
well, it's
tweaked my sensories a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah. Let's get into that a little bit. According to Jessica, her data, which she has, they actually experimented on you, Tex, and what they did is they performed some sort of upgrade, and that is, again, when we talk about this, if it was me, my mind would be you're holding up good with this. My mind would just be discombobulated, and you were experimented on. They upgraded you, and you were beamed up into a ship. In fact, from the data that Jessica had released, was that it was almost like it was fire in the sky, kind of like that movie, right? That the alien abduction
Yeah.
with Travis Walton, as it was described. And Tex, first of all, let's backtrack. These upgrades, what do you think they were? I mean, do you feel any differently today than you did back in
Well,
2017?
well, it's like the only thing that I've and I didn't ever really think about it until she
Yeah,
said something.
yeah.
The only thing that's changed is, you know, I'm
Well, now
I
you're
get
more
this
conscious of.
yeah, I get this gut feeling whenever something comes around or whatever, or when something's not around. And but I never I never put two and two together,
Mm.
you know. I just because I mean, all my life I've had pretty strong gut feelings about stuff.
Yeah.
It's kept me out of a lot of bad situations.
Hmm.
When I was a teenager, and me and my buddies running around, we there, I would say, man, I don't know, I got a bad feeling about tonight. Let's just stick around the house or whatever. And then we would hear the next weekend about something that happened, where we were going or something like that, or somebody had an accident or something like that. And it got to where it was spooky because if I said I had a hinky feeling or whatever, we wouldn't go anywhere. And it was like, well, pay attention, you got feeling. And my daughters have that.
Right.
My son has never really discussed it with me. So I don't know if he does or not. But my daughters have sat down and talked to me about that. And I said, well, and I've always told all my kids, if you have to ask yourself what, should I or what if or whatever, don't.
Right.
Because something's trying to tell you, your guardian angel's looking after you. And that's the way I always looked at it, really.
Yeah.
And my mom was kind of the same way. She was like, she always went with her gut. She's the one that, well, her and my dad both. My dad was like, go with your gut, son. And my mom was like, if you got a bad feeling about something, just back off.
Hmm.
She was like, trust your instincts. So,
Yeah.
but
So I guess too, then, Tex, prior to 2017, you always had these gut feelings that you relied on or used. And now when we talk about potentially being upgraded,
right,
and it might have been subtle enough where you didn't really realize it. Because I know, since I've been with you I've known you for a couple of years now, and I know in a variety of other shows, people have mentioned that they sensed that you had that you could feel things. I mean, people out of the
right,
blue on a show with Lainey, she had made mention of that, right?
yeah.
And now thinking back, are you more conscious now of, okay, you got these supposed upgrades, so now you can hone in on it. So have you, since you were notified of this back July 1st, have you been more aware and trying to tap into that a little more than perhaps you blowing it off in the past?
Well, honestly, since Laney made that remark,
Okay.
I kind of started paying attention to it more, and that's when I actually started paying attention to what feelings I was having, and then
Yeah.
what I would run into,
Okay.
and then so yeah, I would, I make mental note of that, So if it happens again when I'm somewhere or whatever, I kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
So, and then, when I really got into this and I had people going out with me, I really try to rely on that because I don't want people to walk into something. I don't want to lead people into something, a bad situation. And and honestly, I've had a lot of people say, get bad feelings before I do. I mean, I'll have a feeling, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing.
Right.
It's like, it's with me. Okay. Well, yeah, these things are here,
Yeah.
but we don't necessarily need to leave.
Yeah. It's just more of
We
a
just need to
heightened
be aware.
awareness. Just a
Yeah.
heightened awareness, whether it has a negative or positive effect.
Right.
Your
Right.
senses are more heightened. Your spidey
I,
senses.
I guess so.
You know,
Yeah.
I just
Um,
yeah. Go ahead.
let's see. I think it was Bat Mom asked me if I had any Native American in me and First Nations in me. And from what I understand, yes, we do. So it's not a whole lot, but um, there you go. So that's that. Randy says,
Yeah, I'll show that one. Randy.
Randy says, what? You stake me out for bait and you don't want to lead somebody into trouble? See, I'm not going to get you hurt, brother.
Hey, Tex, you think that there was a reason behind, what do you think though? I mean, let's say that you were brought up, you were worked on, you were a specimen
Right.
and they upgraded you. Why do you think they would do that? I mean, do you think they were doing it for your benefit or do you think there's some other purpose behind this?
Well, now, Jessica also said that I have a chip implant somewhere
Right.
from that experience. I said, well, if they're smart, they put it in my knee because I've already got metal in my knee.
Yeah.
But I don't, I don't know what their end game is, and but maybe maybe they use us for as their eyes and ears, type thing. Maybe we're just extensions of them. It's like it's their version of putting a game camera out there, you know. um, but
You know,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I could go with that. Let me ask you this too. A lot of people say that orbs out in the woods are actually controlled by aliens, right? That they're actually commanding these little orbs that are perusing our forests. And in this case, we're talking more about your abduction area, Brown Springs. Have you out in the field come across lots of orbs or any orbs? And perhaps that's alien intervention there.
Well, the only time that I've ever seen any lights or anything like that was I was out there by myself and I saw what looked like a laser pointer. And what I thought it was I was looking through a tree line, and what I thought it was just a plane in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up and was doing something, I don't know. And that's when I realized that this light was between me and a tree that was about 15 feet away from 15, 20 feet away from me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's odd because it was gone. So I just kind of, one of those weird things, Well, then several months later, I had taken a couple out with me and we were sitting around camp, and I'll be dadgum if she didn't see the same thing at the same place. So I don't know what that is, but it was real small, like a laser pointer. That's the only thing that I've ever seen, like an orb or anything like that.
Well, what would your thought be though on the orb? Do you think maybe? I mean, your theory. You think it could be an alien or it could be some other unnatural entity? I mean, I don't. I'm asking these questions now because you've been abducted, apparently,
Right.
according to the data, and now I'm just trying to reference some of the things you've seen that maybe
Right.
were alien form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that. I I don't know. It's some kind of energy. I don't know what kind it is. I don't know if it's spiritual. I don't know if it's ET. Like I said, I haven't experienced that enough to even try to come to a conclusion myself.
Right.
It's just, you know, um,
Yeah, and I get it. And I know they're
I
tough.
think it's
I know.
one. I think it's one of the two.
Mhm.
There's Jessica.
Yeah, we got Jessica back there. I'm going to bring up Jessica here because I really want to talk about what she was, the past, the DDoS in the background running. And Jessica, thanks for joining us. Take a couple minutes. I know you got school going on, and we were just talking about some things that were brought up in your actual RVI investigation that you had made mention of his partner, which is identified as DDoS, was running. And you had made mention of that, and some of the people in our chat had seen that in the video, and that just substantiates what you were talking about. What I think is outstanding. I want you to walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I believe I was picking up like a Blair Witch type of vibe. Like, I mean, that's like running with a shaky camera, all that kind of stuff. During that, I've been listening to the whole show, y'all. So I was pretty blown away by those comments about
Me both.
camera with him. I mean, because that's what I had envisioned, and I was trying to, when I was remote viewing it, I was trying to see if they took him too. And from what I was gathering is that you got taken, Tex, and then he ran, but I think they got him too. Okay, I think they did. I think they eventually did. But yeah, I did see him run. So. Interesting stuff, man. I don't know. I love the confirmations.
It's a lot to take in. I'll tell you. It's when Rob wanted to do this show, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I didn't, and then all this got laid on me, and I'm like, oh, I gotta back up and think about this a little bit more.
And what's probably going to entail, Texas, because Jessica did that show July 1st. For anybody who hasn't seen it, go check it out. The Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. We'll probably do these shows once a year because I guarantee you more evidence from listeners. I bet you it pops up. I'll bet you more than 2 people actually seen that, and they might have seen other things too. We don't know. There's so many videos out there that I think this is going to be an ongoing thing where we're just going to be getting more and more data now that this has been made public, Tex. And I don't know what you feel about that, but I think it's unraveling into a pretty cool story.
I'll tell you exactly how I feel about this, and I told Jessica this, and I think on her show that I'm not real happy about being one of those people. Here I am, and because I don't. Let's just say it how it is. People have a predisposition to go, okay, now wait a minute. This guy's seen Dogman. He's seen Bigfoot. He's seen the paranormal, and now he's been abducted. Come on, I know I would.
Yeah. It's interesting, Tex, because a lot of us that are in the Bigfooting field and that do this kind of research and are out in the field, we have been abducted. A lot of us have. Yeah.
Jessica, that's a great point. Jessica, Tex, I know your feeling on that because, we've talked about this many times. A lot of people have seen more than just a Dogman or Sasquatch. Jessica and I really briefly, we did a show with Barry Littleton, and I told Barry about a few things about my past, and Barry seems to think that I was abducted. Now, when Barry, I haven't yet to talk to Barry on this, Text. I'm not stealing your thunder, but when he told me that, I'm like, okay, Rob has seen this and that. Now Rob all of a sudden was abducted just like Tex. He's copycatting. Well, he told me this like 2 months ago. And I'm like, whatever, I'll get back with you, Barry. Not whatever negatively, like, okay, I'm so busy, I will get back with you. But no, I think that I talked to Robert from Germany, right? He seems to think once you see something, and Jessica always talks about our energy and opening our gland, right? Our third eye. that we're more susceptible. I still can't say it, Jessica. I'm sorry. We're still more susceptible. Yeah, pineal. We're still more susceptible to these things. And Tex, no, I don't think it's crazy. I don't think, oh, geez, another encounter. No, people have encounters for a reason.
Yeah, I feel like once you have, I think some people are just more prone to getting high strangeness everywhere they go. Okay, and I think it's just your energy, and a lot of times, I mean, I'm one who thinks that when we go out in the field, it's not just the land. The land, yes, is going to have activity on it, but it's more the people that are there on it that bring the experience. Okay, and so I know that it may seem a little weird to people, but I think it's the people, not so much the phenomenon. The people bring the phenomenon. Yeah.
I've always thought that, once somebody has an experience, no matter what it is, that the reason they see more stuff there is because it opens them up. Mm-hmm. Because I think most of us are so closed off that, we're living in our own little bubble and we're worried about, buying groceries, paying bills, that type of thing.
Yes.
That, we don't need none of this hocus pocus stuff going on, to add to the, stuff, general life stuff going on. And I think once they have an undeniable experience and we're fixing to run out of time, folks.
Right.
And we'll leave on this note. I think it opens them up. That's always been my theory on it.
And what Tex meant by that, everybody, is everybody on iHeartRadio and on Odyssey Radio. The first half of the show for you concludes. However, the second half will be coming up shortly after a 5-minute break. So subscribe to Texas Front Porch or Bigfoot Michigan Rob. That's where we're streaming on here today. And for those of you that are joining late, you're going to have to go back and rewatch this from the beginning because you missed a lot of great information. So you're going to have to go back when we're done and rewatch it and subscribe and share it out to friends. With that being said, Tex, if you want to take us to the 5-minute break, and we'll reconvene with Tex. And I don't know if Jessica Jones got a couple minutes. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. And before we get started again, I do have to describe the significance of what Jessica brought to the table, because on that July 1st show, again on Cryptic Hoopers, she had made mention of somebody running in the background, running away. And, Jessica never seen these videos we're talking about. Neither did Tex, neither did I. Two people brought that up, and that just really substantiates Jessica's work, great work that she does. And when I heard that, when Tex saw that, hats off to Jessica for doing just a great job in what she does. She's a true pro. Thank you for that, Jessica. I do appreciate you as a part of our team.
Well, thank you. I just love the validation. It makes me feel good. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm sorry, Tex, that happened to you, but at least you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry.
Take it. That's okay, Tex, man. Take a breath.
I do appreciate you doing this, Jessica. I really, really do. It's just it's just a lot to get your head wrapped around.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, for those joining late, you got to watch this from the beginning. This is a fabulous show. It's a fabulous tale, culminating with the RVI investigation and Tex's thoughts on his alien abduction and the things you're going through in your mind, Tex. I really can't imagine. I thought my encounter was far out, but I don't know what I would do in that situation. I don't know what I'd be thinking right now. And I appreciate you coming on here and giving us your intimate thoughts and details on this, man. I appreciate you, brother.
That's what it's all about, man, getting the truth out there.
Absolutely. We were talking about the upgrades, Jessica, along with Tex, and you mentioned it was a chip. And again, we think about go get a X-ray or whatever, and like a lot of people we've seen done. And Tex had already made mention that he's already has metal in his body. Just your thoughts. Where do you think this chip, if you want to try to locate this, where do you think a good place to go from your experiences would be? Any ideas?
Well, the chip was just part of what they did. Okay, I think that
was exact. Yeah,
that was just a part of it. I would look in his hand. That's usually where they put him, somewhere around the hand or the arm. I think. I don't know. I didn't locate exactly where it was, but I did see that they took Tex for a reason.
Yeah,
and several reasons, but one of them was to upgrade his clairvoyance, his clairaudience, to make him more psychic. And it was interesting because I asked Tex before I told him everything. I said, did you notice any differences in your health? And he said, well, yeah. I think you said your hearing had gotten better or your psychic abilities or something, but that's exactly what I had written down. And that was exactly what I was looking for, was for him to say that. And that's what he told me. So, yeah, they upped his clairaudience now. For people who aren't familiar with clairaudience, that's when you can hear things that other people can't hear. Okay. And that's almost like psychic hearing kind of. Okay. So if you know, you can hear people from the other side talking, you know, you can hear voices and things like that. It's an actual psychic ability. So that's what they were doing. They were helping you. They said it was a upgrade, and also let's see what else. Yeah, it was they just gave you an upgrade because they had plans for you. They knew that you were. I think that they knew you were going to be a voice, and I don't want to say channel, you know, but it could be a channel, you know, to get the truth out there. Okay, so there's a reason we're here right now talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, talking about those reasons, Tex, Jessica, perhaps, I got to ask you, Tex, when you were brought up onto the ship, you have no, obviously, recollection. Now we hear some people that actually seen the beings, the aliens, they've seen down and seen the planet Earth, they've seen the instrumentation. I got to ask this question. Are you glad that you didn't see that, or does a part of you kind of wish that you experienced it? And even if you did, do you think it would have been a dream? What I know you've thought about this, Tex, about whether or not you wanted to see it or not.
Well, I know from what Jessica said, I didn't go quietly. And that's another thing that she said that I'm like, well, that's pretty much on track with the way I would respond to, something like that. I didn't go down without a fight, and but it.
No pun intended, Tex. I understand you were quite difficult to get up into the ship.
Yeah, that's one thing that Jessica picked up is, we got a big one, and
They did that.
When she said that, the first image that popped in my head was somebody on the end of a rod and reel trying to reel in a big old fish. Oh, we got a big one. We're gonna need a bigger boat, top thing. And,
I think it happened so fast. You were taken up really quickly, and then your partner out there took off running because I think it scared him. I don't think he knew what happened. He couldn't figure out where you went.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But as far as wishing I remembered more, it's a yes and a no answer.
Right.
Because I've got part of me that goes, hell yeah, I want to know everything that they did, and another part of me goes, well, damn, I'm trying this hard to get my head wrapped around this part of it. I don't know if I could, I don't know how I would approach the rest of it, but 9 times out of 10, that part of me that wants to know wins out, and I just deal with it.
Well, my data said they purposely wiped your memory, so your memory was erased of everything that happened.
Well, they did a damn good job of that, because if it hadn't been for the missing time and then the video, we wouldn't have ever known anything, because we just thought we just lost track of time. We didn't have any ill effects from it. Yeah. So, they were pretty smooth in their transition. If they hadn't jacked with the camera, and I think that was I don't think they knew that happened, probably, but or they forgot to erase the camera. I don't know, but I don't think these things are infallible. I don't think anything is infallible, you know, aliens, Bigfoot,
Mhm.
spiritual stuff. I don't any of it. So
You know, you,
it's just
you know,
yeah,
and that does beg the question too. And Jessica, perhaps you could answer this because of your experience. You know, we hear these stories like Tex'S, and you had just mentioned they erased his memory, but there are other people that they remember. So, in your estimation or your opinion, why do you think some people they allow this to happen to, and other people's they just erase this? Because quite frankly, I don't know that had Tex ever met you, Jessica, that we wouldn't be talking about this today, right?
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't think there are a whole lot of coincidences.
Right.
Everything happens for a reason. I'm not sure. I do know from doing, I've done more than just this one missing time now since I've done yours, Tex. And a common theme that I'm seeing with missing time are abductions and the message that goes along with it that we signed up for this.
yeah.
So
Somebody made a good comment, and it got me to thinking. Hilton, just a thought. It's interesting how all of you guys were drawn together to do these shows. What do you think? 12 months ago, and you know, it got me to thinking because I. I don't like tooting my own horn. I don't like taking a lot of credit for stuff because, in my mind, everything's a team effort that we do.
Right.
Okay. And I've told y'all time and time again how much I appreciate what y'all do, every damn one of you, and that I couldn't do this without y'all. But I brought every one of you on board because of the chemistry that we had with each other. Because every one of us, it felt like it was supposed to be there. It was, that's the reason I asked you, Jessica. Same thing with Rob. Same thing with Jason. It's like, and Kristen's the latest one, and it's like it's an immediate thing to me. It's like, oh, this is going to work. And the ideas just come. It's like when Jessica, when I asked you to come on board, we were tossing ideas back and forth. We came up with this idea of you doing your, reviewing all this stuff, remote viewing all this stuff. It's something that I happen to do right, was getting all of y'all together, and I get it's it's been a life changing experience for me, and I've made some dear friends, and we're pretty close, all of us really. We can call each other and talk about stuff, and that's one thing that everybody that is part of this team, I hope that I've conveyed that enough to really make y'all realize that if y'all have anything happens or anything, if you need anything, if it's in my power, it's going to happen. You know, we talk about the coffers that the little bit of money that we get doing this. And guys, it's not a whole hell of a lot. It's really not. We don't get paid per se to do this. You know, this YouTube channel, I'll be honest with you, breaks in $100 a month. Okay. And pretty much everything you've seen us do, everything that you've seen us have, is come out of our own pockets. We don't charge to take anybody out with us. None of that stuff. You know, um, it's for all of us. It's all about getting the information out there and being as truthful as we can about it. And it's not that all of us are like minded. We're not. We're not. And we can sit down and have a show on the differences between all of us. And I think people would be damn surprised because a lot of our viewpoints don't match up. But that goes along with what we've been saying the whole time on this show is we've got to bridge that gap. We've got to be able to talk to people that have different views on stuff because we're going to learn stuff. You've
Right.
got to be open-minded enough to accept stuff that maybe you pushed aside in the past. You got to have a second thought on that. You got to stop and go, well, maybe. And if you can do that, and have a civil conversation with somebody that's got a direct opposite of a view that you do, you may both learn something. Because this whole YouTube thing, this whole ET thing, I was on the fence about it. Honestly, I was on the fence about it until today. And this is why I'm having kind of a difficult time. Now I've got to process a whole bunch of new stuff.
Right. And, too, Tex.
I do. I'm sorry to cut you off, Rob.
That's all right.
But I want to thank each and every one of you dearly for sticking with me and being part of this, because it means more than you'll ever know to me. And everybody in chat and everybody's going to listen. When we say we appreciate your support, we do. We're not just saying, it's not just words to us. Because the more we get this out there, the more we're going to understand. So thank you so much for your support. Go ahead, bro.
No, thanks for that, Tex. And, I joined up with you a year and a half ago. I'm just humbled to be part of the team. And we've come a long ways. We got a great team. And Jessica now on board. We got Jason, Kristen, and we've got the guys in the background, Randy, our engineer, and whatever Bob does, he's our executive producer. Love out to everybody. But, Tex, 2017, when you had the time loss, so Jessica brought up something, and she had made mention that maybe there's a message that Tex, that these beings want you to relay. Well, you know what? Maybe had this not happened, you might not have found us, right? Maybe we are your disciples and helping to relay your message, right? I'm not going to call you Jesus. I'm not calling you Jesus. And disciple just popped in my head. One of the beings just relayed that to me. Now I'm having a telepathy come through. I'm not saying Tex is Jesus, but I'm very humble with Tex and everybody else. And and we do have a great team. We all work well together. And the key point you said is everyone agrees to disagree, and that's how you learn. If there was 5 or 6 people on this team that all had the same viewpoints, then it would make for a boring show, and you probably would have 30 subscribers, right? And we'd be off the air before it even started. So thank you, Tex, for all you do, what you do for all of us. And I'm glad to be a part of it.
And so am I. Thank you, Tex.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Bigfoot Jesus.
Now there's a shirt. That's a shirt. Tex has been working on a shirt. I am Yahweh.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we better stop that.
Yeah, we better. We don't want no bad mojo.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's funny.
We're really getting a lot of. I'm kind of watching the chat, and guys, thank you so much for everything you're saying. I mean, it really means a lot. You'll have to pardon me. I'm just kind of.
You know what, Tex? I think, we can. I feel you, buddy. I don't want to continue on with more questions because there's going to be another show down the road because I'm heartfelt by today, man. And what you said, I do appreciate you, and I know all our listeners do. And I do have a last question, though, before we sign off.
Shoot.
If there is a message that these aliens or beings, otherworldly people are trying to convey, I know we've danced around it, and I know you've danced around it, but what do you think it might be, though? You've already expounded on many things, but if you could sum it up in 2 sentences, which is difficult, what do you think? What's the first thing that pops in your head?
Well, honestly, I think that they're using us for ears and eyes, the same way we do game cameras and all that kind of stuff out there. I think that's what they're doing. And because it allows them, maybe these chips are a way to, see what we're seeing or whatever. Maybe that's what this all is. I don't know, but it makes sense to me. What better information gatherers can you have than these people that are having these experiences? And if you can monitor what's going on with them, you can monitor what's going on out there without putting yourself out there. Look at how many researchers are out there. And if this has happened to just, 10% of them, and it's probably more, for sure. But just if it's happened to 10% of them, look at how many thousands of people, thousands of eyes and ears they've got out there, and they don't have to make an appearance as much as they would have to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But
who
am I?
I was thinking too, Tex, how many acres or miles is the Brown Springs area?
I really don't know. I've never even looked it up. I can real quick.
Well, yeah, while you're doing that, because I was just thinking really quickly, and Jessica might have brought this up back, it was 3 weeks ago when I last remember watching the show, but in Brown Springs, do you think other people were abducted, which is an unfair question, but do you think there's an area there's actually a pickup point for people? Jessica, I think you alluded to something like that. There might be certain sections where aliens are more prevalent than other areas.
Yeah, that was in my data, I believe. Let's see if I can find it. I seem to recall that it was that's one of their territories where they're anybody's fair game that wanders onto a certain path.
Right.
So yeah, if you're out there, you're ET bait. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, but they did target Tex'S specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there may be like random abductions, and then there's targeted ones as well. So from what I got out of the data that I received. Okay. So yeah. Be careful out there,
That's
everybody.
just amazing. And I bring that up too, Tex, because typically there's a cemetery out there where the water runs underneath the cemetery. That seems to have an influx of, I guess, the paranormal. Aliens, I guess, would be considered that too, but I'm just talking the paranormal entities. There's a section over there, and it seems like it's spread throughout that place where you have the Dogman sightings, Bigfoot. They seem to be spread out in different locales, not just one specific location. That was really the reason for the question. If that indeed, you do the research out there, if that makes sense to you, if you've noticed that at all.
Run that by me one more time.
The reason I brought up about maybe this was a specific area for alien abduction. Now, of course, you were seeked out. I get what Jessica said, but then you've got the area where the running water underneath the cemetery, where you have the entities, the paranormal. Then there's areas where the Dogman or perhaps Bigfoot's been spotted. They don't seem to be in just one specific area, do they? They are spread out, though. Or am I wrong? Or this is just one area?
No, they're spread out over the whole thing. There's been sightings all over the place, and it's about 7,800 acres is the wildlife preserve.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So it's a big place, and but no, there's been sightings, just not in that area. All over that, Red River basin. It's packed full of stuff, and up in the Comanche Mountains and just all over Oklahoma, really. And Texas, as far as that goes, I think Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, in Louisiana, there's a lot of sightings, a lot. So it's not just one place. You do have places where it's amped up as far as the paranormal and stuff like that, like Brown Springs Cemetery, man. That place, man, it's and we're trying to find if that influence, that paranormal influence, stops at a certain point away from the cemetery. You know, we're trying to find that cutoff point, and I'm not sure if we found it yet. And we've had expeditions that were 4 miles away from the cemetery. So, and we've had hinky stuff happen, but not as hinky. So it could be kind of written off, but it was more physical stuff. So we may be on the cusp of that. I don't know.
Very good. Well, I tell you what, Tex, I know Jessica's got to go. We put you through a show today, and I could tell with your reaction, the way you responded, and I think it was a great show. I appreciate everything that you do and sharing more intimately today on your experience. And if you have any final thoughts, I think I'm going to cut it here in a minute. Before I do that, everybody got to check out Jessica. What do you got going on Friday?
Friday, I have remote viewed the incident in Texas, actually, of the man that called himself Bugs, who called into Art Bell in the 1990s to claim that he had killed 2 Bigfoots in Texas and buried them with 2 of his Vietnam War friends. And so that's, some people say it was a hoax, and some people think there were some bodies buried. So we're going to explore that on Friday night. And of course, Saturday night, I've got Bigfoot Michigan Rob coming on Spaced Out Radio.
All right.
So, yeah, you guys join me for that. And on Sunday, I have Charlie Raymond of the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization coming on.
Met him in Alabama.
Out. Yeah. Yep. So it's going to be a great weekend of shows. So you guys please tune in.
Absolutely. Please do. Everybody subscribe to the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, the Siru Papers. We're on 5 nights a week. Monday, we're off on Tuesdays. We're cramming 5 shows in 4 days, actually. Check us out. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out wherever podcasts are broadcast. Also, iHeartRadio, Odyssey Radio. And I guess that's it. All podcast platforms. Tex, buddy, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you for everybody who's going to listen later. Go back and rewatch this for those of you latecomers. Thanks for coming. Better late than never, but check it out. You don't want to miss the beginning of this show. It's fantastic. To my fantastic co-hosts, Jessica Jones and my buddy Tex, the Bearded Wonder, Bigfoot Michigan Rob is signing off. We have a great weekend.
Bye, y'all.
We'll see y'all later. I guess I got to push the button here.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got to get used to doing that.
I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I know. That's where we're cutting it about 15 minutes earlier.